Joshua 19, inheritances for Simeon, Zebulun, Issachar, Asher, Naphtali, Dan, and Joshua. The waiting is almost over. For generations, Israel dreamed of this land. Abraham walked through it by faith. Moses saw it from a distant mountain. Joshua fought to possess it. Now, the final inheritance is about to be given. One tribe after another steps forward to receive what God had promised centuries before. But hidden within this chapter is one remarkable lesson. The man who led the conquest, the servant who carried the burden of an entire nation, waits until everyone else has received their portion. Only then does Joshua receive his own inheritance. Joshua chapter 19 is more than a record of boundaries and cities. It is the story of God's faithfulness, fulfilled at last. Joshua chapter 19 completes the distribution of the promised land among the tribes of Israel. Following Benjamin's inheritance in the previous chapter, the remaining tribes, Simeon, Zebulun, Issachar, Asher, Naphtali, and Dan receive their allotted territories according to God's direction. Each inheritance reflects the Lord's perfect wisdom, demonstrating that every tribe has a unique place and purpose within his covenant people. Simeon's inheritance is carved from within Judah's larger territory, fulfilling earlier prophecies while ensuring that every tribe receives its rightful place. The chapter carefully records towns, boundaries, valleys, hills, and coastal regions, reminding us that God's promises are not vague or symbolic. They are real, specific, and dependable. Then comes one of the most beautiful moments in the book of Joshua. After all the tribes have received their inheritance, the Israelites honor Joshua by giving him the city of Timnath Serah in the hill country of Ephraim, just as the Lord had commanded. Joshua rebuilds the city and settles there. The great leader who faithfully served God and his people never sought personal reward before fulfilling his calling. His inheritance came last. Joshua 19 stands as a testimony to God's unwavering faithfulness. Every promise made to Abraham generations earlier is now finding its visible fulfillment. The God who promised has provided. When they had finished dividing the land, the Israelites gave Joshua son of Nun an inheritance among them. Joshua 7:49p. Joshua receives his inheritance only after faithfully serving the people. They gave him the town he asked for, Timnath Serah. Joshua 7:m summarized God honors faithful servants in his perfect timing. Allotment for Simeon. The second lot came out for the tribe of Simeon according to its clans. Their inheritance lay within the territory of Judah. It included Beersheba, or Sheba, Malada, Hazar-Shul, Bala, Ezem, Eltalad, Bethul, Hormah, Ziklag, Beth-Markaboth, Hazar-Susa, Beth-Laboth, and Sharuhen, 13 towns and their villages, Ain, Rimmon, Ether and Ashan, 4 towns and their villages, and all the villages around these towns as far as Baalath-Beer Ramah in the Negev. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the Simeonites, according to its clans. The inheritance of the Simeonites was taken from the share of Judah, because Judah's portion was more than they needed. So the Simeonites received their inheritance within the territory of Judah. Allotment for Zebulun. The third lot came up for Zebulun according to its clans. The boundary of their inheritance went as far as Sarid. Going west, it ran to Maralah, touched Dabbesheth, and extended to the ravine near Jokneam. It turned east from Sarid toward the sunrise to the territory of Kisloth Tabor, and went on to Dabreth and up to Japhia. Then it continued eastward to Gath-Hepher and Eth-Kazin. It came out at Rimmon and turned toward Neah. There the boundary went around on the north to Hanathon and ended at the valley of Iptah-El. Included were Kadeth, Nahalal, Shimron, Idalah, and Bethlehem. There were 12 towns and their villages. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of Zebulun according to its clans. Allotment for Issachar. The fourth lot came out for Issachar according to its clans. Their territory included Jezreel, Kesaloth, Shunem, Happaraim, Shean, Anahareth, Rabbith, Kishan, Abez, Remeth, and Ganim, and Haddah and Beth-Pazez. The boundary touched Tabor, Shahazuma, and Beth-Shemesh and ended at the Jordan. There were 16 towns and their villages. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Issachar, according to its clans. Allotment for Asher. The fifth lot came out for the tribe of Asher, according to its clans. Their territory included Helkath, Hali, Beton, Akshaph, Elamelech, Amad, and Mishal. On the west, the boundary touched Carmel and Shihor-Libnath. It then turned east toward Beth-Dagon, touched Zebulun and the valley of Iptah-El, and went north to Beth-Emek and Neel, passing Kabul on the left. It went to Abdon, Rehob, Hammon, and Cana as far as Greater Sidon. The boundary then turned back toward Ramah and went to the fortified city of Tyre, turned toward Hosa, and came out at the Mediterranean Sea in the region of Aksib, Ummah, Aphek, and Rehob. There were 22 towns and their villages. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Asher, according to its clans. Allotment for Naphtali. The sixth lot came out for Naphtali according to its clans. Their boundary went from Heleph and the large tree in Zaanannim, passing Adami Nekeb and Jabneel to Lachim, and ending at the Jordan. The boundary ran west through Aznoth Tabor and came out at Hukkok. It touched Zebulun on the south, Asher on the west, and the Jordansk on the east. The fortified towns were Ziddim, Zur, Hamath, Rakath, Kinnereth, Adamah, Ramah, Hazer, Kadesh, Edrei, and Hazer, Iron, Migdal, El, Horam, Beth Anath, and Beth Shemesh. There were 19 towns and their villages. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Naphtali, according to its clans. Allotment for Dan. The seventh lot came out for the tribe of Dan, according to its clans. The territory of their inheritance included Zorah, Eshtaol, Ir-Shemesh, Shalabin, Asalon, Ithla, Elon, Timnah, Ekron, Eltekeh, Gibbethon, Baalath, Jahud, Ben-Barak, Gath-Rimmon, Mejarkon, and Rakkon. With the area facing Joppa, when the territory of the Danites was lost to them, they went up and attacked Leshem, took it, put it to the sword, and occupied it. They settled in Leshem and named it Dan, after their ancestor. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Dan, according to its clans. Allotment for Joshua. When they had finished dividing the land into its allotted portions, the Israelites gave Joshua son of Nun an inheritance among them, as the Lord had commanded. They gave him the town he asked for, Timnath Serah in the hill country of Ephraim, and he built up the town and settled there. These are the territories that Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the heads of the tribal clans of Israel assigned by lot at Shiloh in the presence of the Lord at the entrance, an ancient map of the Holy Land, specifically highlighting 3 distinct cities, Kadesh in Galilee, nestled in the hill country of Naphtali, Shechem, prominently situated in the hill country of Ephraim, and Kiriath Arba, also known as Hebron, located in the hill country of Judah. The map features clear topographical details, ancient script labels for each city and region, and subtle artistic embellishments that evoke a sense of historical significance. The lighting is bright and even resembling an illuminated manuscript or a well-preserved historical document with a clean cinematic composition to the tent of meeting. And so they finished dividing the land. Lessons and teachings. 1. Simeon's inheritance within Judah. A picture of unity. Simeon's inheritance was within Judah's territory. The tribes were united. For us, the body of Christ is 1. 2. Zebulun's inheritance. From the sea to the hills, Zebulun's territory was fertile and varied. God gives diverse blessings. For us, God's provision is abundant. 3. Issachar's inheritance. The valley of Jezreel. Issachar received a fertile and strategic territory. God gives both provision and responsibility. For us, receive what God gives you. 4. Asher's inheritance. The Mediterranean coast. Asher's territory was along the coast. God gives blessings by the sea. For us, God's blessings are varied. 5. Naphtali's inheritance. The mountains of Galilee. Naphtali received the mountains of Galilee. God gives beauty and strength. For us, trust God in every terrain. 6. Joshua's inheritance. Timnath Serah. Joshua received his own inheritance. Faithfulness is rewarded. For us, be faithful, thumb by God will reward you. 7. Joshua placed the needs of God's people before his own. In an even greater way, Jesus Christ came not to be served, but to serve, giving his life so that all who believe in him might receive an eternal inheritance that is eternal, imperishable, and secure. Joshua's humility points forward to the perfect servant king whose reward came after his obedience, suffering, death, and glorious resurrection. Our Lord Jesus Christ, whose kingdom has no end. 8. Joshua 19 quietly asks us, am I willing to serve faithfully without seeking recognition? Joshua could have claimed the best land first. Instead, he waited. He trusted God's timing. True leadership is not measured by what we receive. It is measured by how faithfully we serve. God knows exactly when to entrust each blessing to his children. His timing is never late. His rewards are never forgotten. Point to take home. Joshua 19 completes the tribal inheritances. This chapter records the final tribal allotments, bringing to completion the division of the promised land that began in Joshua 13. 2. Simeon's territory was within Judah rather than receiving a completely separate region. Simeon's inheritance was carved from Judah's larger territory, fulfilling God's plan for both tribes. 3. The tribes received diverse landscapes. Joshua 19 includes mountains, fertile plains, forests, coastal regions, and valleys, demonstrating the richness and diversity of God's provision. 4. Joshua waited until the end. One of the chapter's greatest lessons is Joshua's humility. He did not seek his own inheritance first, but faithfully ensured that every tribe received theirs before accepting his own. Timnath Serah became Joshua's home. Joshua rebuilt the city he received and lived there, quietly concluding a lifetime of faithful leadership. Coming next, Joshua chapter 26 cities. 1. Extraordinary purpose. Discover how the cities of refuge reveal God's justice, mercy, and ultimately point us to Jesus Christ, our perfect refuge.
Thank you for journeying through God's Word with us. If this message encouraged you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs hope today. Until next time, may God's Word be the lamp to your feet and the light to your path. This is Whispers of the Word, where every chapter whispers the heart of God. God bless you.